Thank you very much for coming out on what I think is our first really cold winter night. So
come on in, everybody. Come on in.
Yeah, come on in. You can join the sculptures. I'm very honored to welcome Bruce Niemi for our 19th annual Finnish American Contemporary Artist Series. So this series was started 19 years ago to highlight a Finnish American artist, and I feel very fortunate to have found a sculptor because I think he's, well, we did have one sculptor early on, but we don't get much sculpture in this gallery, so we're very blessed to fill this room with such sparkling light. So Bruce has been here. Tuesday he arrived with a big truck, and we got a bunch of students down to help us unload it, and he's been working with students. He taught a class today on the business side of art. So how to make a living as an artist, which is great information for all our young artists in school. So please help me welcome Bruce.
Thank you for coming out. Well, it's not cold here, but this is probably like summer almost sometimes.
Yeah.
But actually, I used to come up here in childhood all the way through grade school and at Skainey and stay on Huron Bay. Had a couple of relatives with cabins right there. We still have the cabins in the family, I'm thankful for. So we're going to spend a couple of days before we go home. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I got my beginning. My father was an ornamental iron artist, custom fabricator, and a self-taught sculptor. So I was brought up with the arts all through grade school, and he would drag me to shows, not drag me, but I mean I'd go to shows. Well, you know, a little kid, what do you do? But I remember as a little kid, this is a little on the lighter side, asking my father why he was drawing dirty pictures. And he said, well, why do you think I'm drawing dirty pictures? I said, well, you never let me see your sketchbook. You come home from the thing, so they must be bad. I can't look at them. So he brought down the sketchbook and showed me the pictures of the ladies and explained. So it became art instead of a dirty picture. You know, so it was good awakening, and it's a good thing to learn as a young man or a young boy. I wasn't a man. But so in 7th grade, he taught me how to weld. Oxyacetylene welding, spot welding, and a few other things. So I started doing sculptures. The first ones looked a lot like his work, of course, because he was my main influence. He taught me a lot of my craftsmanship, which I guess the common word might be is I'm very anal about how I finish my work. And that's part of it. I don't like to see any of my welds. I want to get, if I can't get at them, I try to cover them up somehow. But everything is, I try to take it to being finished. But that was a big part of my dad's influence. And so after grade school, I did take a class in high school as a freshman. Did really well, but I was thinking, well, I'm going to go to college. That was the big thing. So I got to take college prep classes. So I dropped the art. I kept doing it, but I didn't take any more classes till senior year. And fortunately, I had gotten a wrestling scholarship to go to Northern Illinois University, which ended up having a really strong sculpture program. And my father had put a lot of influence on me to not take on a job where I had to take a partner. He said, do what you want to do and be happy with whatever you want to do. Just make sure you enjoy it. And I actually try to force that with young people if I'm speaking at school, which I forgot to talk about today. There wasn't much time. But I knew I loved doing art, and I loved sculpture, so when I went to Northern, that was my main emphasis, was to get a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Sculpture. I didn't want to be a teacher at the time, and right now I think back it sure would be nice to have a safety cushion, but and to have somebody paying for insurance. But I've been very blessed because we've been able to make a living now for 22 and a half years full-time. But I got out of Northern and started doing my artwork and discovered, I wasn't going to be able to make a living right away full-time. My dad needed help with his business. He invented something, a welding helmet. And my brother and I had a side business detailing cars, and I'm doing my artwork. So it's kind of insane, but it helped keep me out of trouble. But I met Susie, my wife here, who is one of my strongest advocates. And, she helps me with the business and of the art, which is a major blessing. She does the computer. I don't have to touch it. She forces me to read email once in a while. But when I can be in the studio creating, it's much better than me being drained out by the computer. And for the students here, that probably doesn't seem like, well, why is it so hard on the computer? Well, I'm a Neanderthal, so I don't really want to. I tried learning computer for a long time, and it was coming in, but the time I was spending on it, I should have been in the studio. So I talked her into taking that part of it over, and that's actually her full-time job besides the things that your spouse does, cleans the house, whatever. But anyway, so about my work, that's like. After I met Susie, she inspired me to put more focus into the arts. And within 3 years, I went full-time after meeting her. And a lot of that was through her encouragement, which really helped. I was 31 when I went full-time. But the arts, you have to push and run everywhere if you want to make a living at it. You can't sit back and let somebody do it for you. Galleries aren't going to do it for you unless you're on top of them. They open, they close, they fold, they sell your work and don't pay you. Not all of them. I've been very fortunate, but a lot of my friends have lost out on gallery sales. But my artwork, I'm going to talk about that now because that's from there things just happened, and it was through a lot of hard work and being in the right place or the wrong place, but the right things happened. People see out of the blue that you'd never, I was at a show to get my first major public sculpture, a war memorial. I was doing a street show in Chicago, a Jerry Fine Art show, and this Polish barber comes up to me. He was born in America, but could barely speak English. I mean, his accent was so heavy I could barely understand him, and he's telling me that I could do this memorial, and he was so excited. And it ended up being the Eternal Flame War Memorial, honoring veterans of all wars and conflicts. But if I wouldn't have been at that show, I would have never gotten that commission. But that commission led, after I finished that, within 3 months, I got another big commission for a Kane County courthouse. But it's amazing if, you got to put yourself out there in the public, and you don't ever know where, where it's going to, the right person's there, it can lead to something else. And I encourage people to bring their kids to our studio, and because they're going to grow up someday and be buyers, hopefully. We start educating them early. And I might be around by the time they're adults, who knows. But anyway, my work, I've been very blessed, and I know that what I have is a gift from God. So that is my main focus of my artwork first, is I want it to honor God. So I try to make it positive and uplifting. It's really important to me that is in the work. And before I start any piece, I actually do pray that He would open my mind up. Because there's times I maybe get a little cocky and I don't stop and pray, and I sit and I look at the metal. And until I finally humble myself and pray, then things start flowing. And so that's why, if you notice, a lot of the work is kind of up, going up to the heavens. But it's not I don't want to slam anybody with any faith thing. That's not the point of the work. I want people to look at my work and experience it and see what they see. And so many people see different things in the work than what I see, and sometimes I like it a lot better. They'll tell me, well, there's this one piece I have called Emergence. It's a series, and it was a 14.5-foot bronze. And the emergence represented me or you at that point of life when we start emerging into what God has intended us to be, where we put away the childish things and actually start being productive and glowing in life. Well, the young child comes up and looks at it and says, "It looks like a moose." As this piece went up, there's some of these triangles curving up, and then it had these other triangles shooting up almost like antlers. So it could have been a moose, like, I don't know if you stand on